So let's start by labeling or writing down y equals mx plus c. That's going to be my starting point, the general equation of a line. There's a paragraph, a few sentences there. We'll approach this line by line. ABCD is a square, which means we can see that on the diagram, right? Right angles there in the corner, they're important. Why? What's going through your head? 90 degrees. What else? Perpendicular. And so what else is going through your head if it's perpendicular? Negative reciprocal. Thank you, Zinedine. Yeah, negative reciprocal. You need to be thinking along those lines, okay? P and D are points on the y-axis. Now that's really important. P and D are points on the y-axis. What do we know about anything that crosses the y-axis? Very good. Anything that crosses the y-axis, we know its coordinate, part of it, don't we? We know that the x value is 0 here, and also for D, the x value is 0. Are we happy about that? Okay, so the x values are 0. So suppose we had an equation and we wanted to find out what those y values are, and we knew the equation of this line here. What could we do? If we knew the equation of this line, how would I find out what the y value here is? Yes, Zinedine.
Substitute x0 to y.
Very good. We substitute x equals 0 in the equation because we want to find out what the y value there is. So as x is 0 and y, we can leave it as is. Substitute it into your equation, you'd get that. So some important things to take from here. Y equals mx plus c is the general equation of a line. Our starting point, whenever we are dealing with lines, starting point. When we have an equation of a line, the first thing that we work out is the gradient. Yeah, work out gradient first. How do we find out gradient? Yeah. Okay, so it's another way of remembering is change in y over change in x. It's easier to remember it that way. But remember, you keep the order of the coordinates the same. So gradient, which we'll say m, is found by doing change in y over change in x. How do we then find the y-intercept? That would be the second thing that I find. How? Substitute what? So a coordinate that they give you, that is on the line. Substitute a coordinate, and obviously the gradient that we already know. Substitute a coordinate on the line into y equals mx plus c, and that will then get you c. That's it. That's all you're doing to find equation of a line. Now, other things that we said here, key important things. So this is one point, first point, finding the equation of a line. Now we're looking at the problem solving elements. If a line crosses the x-axis, good, then y is equal to 0, which means what can we do with that y equals 0? We can substitute into the equation. Substitute into equation and solve to find the other thing there. So substitute to find the x value. And likewise, same kind of thing here. When it crosses the y-axis, we know that, yeah, that should have been then. Then we know x is equal to 0. So similarly, we can substitute x equals to 0 into the equation. To find y. So that would have been to find x. So kind of overall strategy, and some other things we know is if we have parallel lines, what do we know? Good. Parallel lines, same gradient. And perpendicular lines, as you've said, Yeah, negative reciprocal, not just the reciprocal. Negative reciprocal. Reciprocal means write it in a fraction form and switch the numerator and denominator. Negative means times it by -1. This is your essentially summary of everything to do with lines, without going into a lot of nitty-gritty detail, which I expect you to know, such as working out gradients and so on. So let's go and take a look at this question. So A, B, C, D is a square. We can see P and D are points on the y-axis. So we know at those coordinates, the x value is 0. So this is what I've done here. I've just gone and labeled my diagram with the x value being 0 there. I left the y bit blank there because I'll probably have to work it out. I can't go and find out what the y value is because I don't know any equations yet. I haven't read anything yet. I'm up to this point on my line by line. A is a point on the x-axis. Okay, so what do we know about that point? So something 0. PAB is a straight line. So can you see there? PAB is a straight line. Okay, so that means we can use y equals mx+c on that. Then it goes on to say the equation of the line that passes through the point AD is this. So which line have they given us the equation for? Can you see that one there? So what I'll do is I'll just make a note here that this one has an equation y is equal to -2x plus 6. Just label that here. Okay, just make it clear that it is that line that I've got the equation for. At this point, is there maths to be done? We can do what? Which coordinates? The A and D? Because those coordinates are on that line, right? And we have the equation of that line. I don't carry on reading, do I? At this point, we're going to find out everything we can using this equation. So let's focus our attention here. So what do we know about D? At D, what can we say? X is 0. So we can say y is equal to -2 bracket 0 plus 6. Y is equal to 6 at D. So the coordinate is 0, 6. We can go and add that onto our diagram. What else do we know? Okay, so can you see what we're doing? Am I just jumping into calculations? What am I writing? I'm writing what I'm working out. I'm doing a bit of commentary in terms of writing, and it's important that you do that when you, even in your solution, your work solution. It makes it look neater. It shows clearly to the examiner what you're doing. Remember, you are trying to make things easy for examiner. He's the person, he or she's the person who's going to give you the marks. Okay, so you need to please them, and you need to make it easy for them to see exactly what you're doing. So at A, what do we know? So we can substitute into our equation 0 equals -2x plus 6. Rearrange. 2x is equal to 6, x is equal to 3. So what's the coordinate here? 3, 0. Let's go and put that into our diagram. Now, since we know the equation of this line here, y equals -2x plus c, is there anything else we can work out here? Yes, Zen.
Square, you know that the parallel side is also the same equation.
Yeah, so this one would be also same gradient, y equals -2x, but the c won't be the same. What about this line? Okay, so potentially, right? How would we find that then? The question is not asking for it, is it? But we can find the equation of this line, and that line now, if we wanted to potentially. Maybe we should read on a little bit to see what it's asking. Find the length of PD. It wants us to find the length of PD. Can you see where P and D are? So we need this point, don't we? Can you see it's partly missing? So in order to find this point, we need.
The equation of line for P to B.
Yeah, we need the equation of the line P to B, which is also the same as the line A to B, isn't it? They're the same line. Yeah? Isa? So We're after what now? We've established what we're after. We're not after this line or that line. We're after that line there. Could have worked out any of them, but a little bit more reading kind of told us which one to do. So what am I going to start by writing? Okay. All right, so the other one has a gradient of -2, right? So what should I write down? I should write down gradient. Let's commentate. Gradient AD is equal to -2. So what then should I write down? Thank you. Gradient PB is equal to 1/2. What should I then do? Into what? Okay, so we start off with y equals mx plus c. Y is equal to 1/2 x plus c. What is this line? What is this equation for? Which line? So maybe I should also commentate here line PB. So I know exactly what I'm working out. So I can go back to my work and see what I've done if I've made a mistake and I'm looking through my work. What else do I need to do then to find this equation of this line PB? We need how many? Do we need 2 coordinates? Just one. Yeah, just the one set of coordinates, x and y. Which one might you want to use? A, because that's the one we know. But can you see, if I didn't work out A by using line by line, I wouldn't have got to this stage. I wouldn't have had A. So don't just go and read everything and just focus your attention on the last sentence. You've got to do maths as you go along. So we're going to go and use 3, 0 in here. 0 is y, 1/2, 3 plus c. And so then this becomes -3/2 is equal to c. So the equation is y is equal to 1/2 x minus 3/2. And this is the equation of line PB. I'll just make a note here, line PB, and put a little box around it. Is that it? Have I finished? That was only part of it. What was the purpose of finding the equation of that line? To find out P. So what can we say at P? At P, we know. So what am I going to do? 1/2. Y equals -3/2. What should I do with this? Coordinate, which is 0 -3/2. Then what should I do with it? Write it on the diagram. Okay. What's the question asking for? The length from P to D. Can you see where that is? What is that? Length. It's a straight line. It's a vertical line. So how do we find that distance? Do we know any lengths here? Can we figure out the length? Would the coordinates help at all?
Just 6 minus 2.
Yeah. What's this? What's this length? What's this length? -3/2 is the coordinate, but what is it as a length? Length is 3/2. Lengths can't be negative here. The coordinate is negative, indicating it's below the x-axis. But the length is 3/2 itself, and the length here is 6. So 6 plus 3/2. So we can then say length PD. 7.5 is PD.